All right, we are live again with continuing from where we left. We had an interesting qualifying session, more or less a dry session, but we do have some mixed conditions in the race that we probably have replicated it. Yes, we have, and we can expect to see some rain in the race. Probably towards the end of the race. That's the information we have. But let's find out how that essentially works out for all these drivers, because if there is rain, things can get really interesting, and there are a lot of low traction zones uh, around this circuit. As much as there are walls, there are heavy low traction zones as well. So absolute zero forgiveness if drivers go an inch wide on their uh, corners or hit their brakes probably a fraction of a second later. That can end their car into walls. But let's see, let's find out. We did have a lot of DNFs in the Division 2 race yesterday, but let's see how different or similar it is. This one is to the one we had yesterday, as some drivers are really keen and eager to get things moving, and hopefully we should be getting started very soon. Probably the grid might just be having a just to check at the validation in terms of hopefully everything is set. The grid. Meanwhile, until then, probably we can have a quick look at the points table to see how things have moved. Definitely, Ethan and Hushrav have come pretty close to each other in terms of the drivers' points table, which is 1 point separating them. Hushrav still retaining the lead of the drivers' championship. Probably starting at P6 for this race, while Ethan starts P3. So that's some advantage that Ethan has over him, as the Mercedes of Azun is at P2. So that's a good news for the Mercedes. Although he'd be missing his second driver, who's being replaced by Caesar, who's reserving for the Mercedes, along with vintage player, who's a Division 2 driver, and he's also has a great amount of pace. Probably the championship leader so far in the first half of the season, but I think he's lost his lead to one of his rivals in D2. So we'll probably find out as we have some dancing lights between Shadow Sword and Racing Gupta. So I think they're having their bit of fun in the same party chat. But yep, I think a lot of people are getting eager, and so am I, to get the race started, as and to get over this lull period and see some engines revving and tuning. Yeah, probably we still have a couple of minutes running before we get the race started. Yes, Malav, कुछ मज़ा नहीं आ रहा है अकेले. It's not fun. So you better get your PS4 or PS5 in action soon. Meanwhile, it is a very interesting Saturday. We had an interesting qualifying session. but we also have the Champions League final between Liverpool and Real Madrid. So that's another game to watch out for, probably right after this stream, and probably that might just also be where the impatience of the drivers is kicking in from, because we although we still have a lot of time before kickoff, but people might just want to make their plans for Saturday night. As hi Stuart, thanks for joining in the stream. It'll be nice for you to have see you on track as well. Alright, so Sid Venkatesh probably read his reserved Discord message a bit too late and now has gotten a chance to race again. Another Division 2 driver. He was on the controller yesterday. Don't know what his case is tonight. But let's see what he can do. He didn't have the best of races yesterday. Can he probably not end up with a DNF this time around, as we are ready to go for some racing. 39 laps of racing around the streets of Monaco. 45 to 50 minutes of heavy focus and concentration for these drivers to not have their wings broken or tires strapped off the car. But let's see how this unfolds, as we are now would be running drivers would be selecting their strategy. Pretty much the top 10 drivers have to start on the tires they qualified, so we did see all of them pretty much starting on the softs. So but this would be an advantage for them, where all the wear from the running on in qualifying is all eliminated and is all out of question. So all the entire grid with fresh tires, so the tire advantage that might just be there has been neutralized with the likes of a lobby restart. For the viewers watching us, please feel free to throw your predictions for uh, the podium, and it'll be nice to see a few surprise names, because Monaco can really give us anything and everything. So up as the players are now probably finalizing their strategy, and hopefully they would not forget to load their setups. Otherwise, running in a balanced setup around Monaco would really prove disastrous for these drivers. So that's fairly a quick start race. Somebody did hop onto that X button pretty soon, but hopefully people have mended their strategy, and it'll be interesting to see some rain towards the end of the race, as we are pretty much ready with the formation lap. Oops. Alrighty. So yeah, Hushav in P5, Vyom in P6, just starting behind Ethan. VFX also eager to start. Everybody, Mayank has been disqualified from the session for probably he had an incident with Vintage, so that's a cold tire start for them. Vyom and Shadow have also been disqualified from the session, so a lot of disqualifications already. Wings being kissed in the formation lap itself. Hopefully these drivers can find their braking with and I see two cars already racing there. So what, I have no clue what's happening over here. What's just happening? Did we have? I think there's something's messed up again. I am. Oopsie daisy, so is that the case? Oh, whoa. I think the assists have been messed up a little, and hopefully nobody leaves. No, people are leaving, but they're joining back. Are they? We just throw, crash. Let's see some crash and burn. Yeah, we have a good show for the stream until everybody retires, and that's the end, pretty much the end of the race, and we have things started for the better. So a lot of yellow flags, and the safety car is also out. Can somebody bring up a red flag for us, please? Somebody just park their car somewhere and get us a red flag. Is anybody also watching the stream? Yeah, crash your cars, guys. Crash your cars. Yeah, crash your cars. All this is all the time to do the dirty driving that you can. Show us some drifting. Yeah, way to go, boys. Yeah, quick killer with some drifts. And he crashes into chip schema, so yeah, that's all these drivers showing us what online open lobby dirty driving is all about, and crash and bang. So four 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 people to go. Let's see who lasts until when. This is also fun to watch. I never thought that I'll be streaming and commentating on such a race as well, but it's fun. And was that a drift? That was a half drift, but now time to crash your car right straight into Saint Devot. Is it Racing Gupta now? No. Parked on track. Disqualification coming soon. Alright, what's happening? I think that's enough of stream time. Probably people can retire from the session. Something's messed up with Quickiller's car. He left and rejoined. So alright, Quickiller has left the session, and thankfully with the setting right through we should be underway. Okay, 18 drivers are there. Hopefully everybody is there. Looks like it. Hopefully we have everything sorted this time around, and we should be getting underway very soon again. Alright, I think we should be underway now. I wish I could also stream the Discord, what's happening on the Discord chat, but that's that's something only for the folks in Discord. So people know the best how to kill their time, as we still are waiting for folks to ready up, and hopefully they should be readying up very soon. Okay, I think this would stop now as the countdown is finally down and the drivers would get their fingers at a better place than just spamming the Discord community, the crew. Anyway, all fun aside, so drivers, do remember to load your setups again, and let's hope we don't have situation critical yet again. And hopefully, this time around, we would be racing. Okay, why am I? Oh, thank God. Yep. So I I have. Okay, now I have my control. So those were some nervy moments right there. Uh, Caesar is on a set of hard tires, so oopsie Caesar, that's something coming your way, and also PSI Legends, so oopsie daisy for you too. Hello stewards, make sure you say hello to them later on. And I am Rahul has left the session, not the best of news. Reduce game volume. Engine's too loud. Okay. Effects volume. Let me reduce that. I hope this should be just fine, as there's a spinner of URL Ethan, and if there's a spin, the drivers are just going to have a hard time setting their car right without resetting to track. As Sid Venkatesh looks like he's on the controller today yet again. Oh, I don't know, not sure. Okay, as he is the last car to line up on the grid, as finally, after a lot of difficulties, we are finally underway for 39 laps of racing around the streets of Monaco, as lights will come out now. There's quite some lag in the session. Yash Kosalia has left the session. As I don't know what's just happening. Whoa. Whoa. Okay, finally, I think we have 5 lights are there. As lights are out and away we go. V6 gets a good start. Ethan gets even a better start than Azun, and he already has them on turn 1, and so does Hushrab and Tanishq as well, who are side by side, and Azun has lost a lot of positions there, as now P1, P2 and P3, there's a lot of fight behind going on, a lot of yellow flags around. The Alpha Tauri of I am Rahul has lost a lot of positions. Azun trying to get his way back, as there's our cars going side by side, as Vyom has also made up a few positions. Tanishq losing some in the process, so probably some contact there between those two cars, as now all these cars go through the tricky hairpin, as all these drivers, as there's a sector 1, as we fix Ethan and Hoshraf are in the lead, as there are yellow flags yet again. There are a lot of drivers having some kinds of moments, as these guys, the top 3, are now coming across. Chip Schema is also fighting a lot of yellow flags around. I think that is a slow AlphaTauri. Caesar has also lost a lot of positions in that process. Does he have a wing? He doesn't have a wing, so he definitely had some contact there. And Shadow is in the pits, so is Racing Gupta in the pits. Whoa, that is, and so is Vintage Player in the pits, and expects Caesar to also be in the pits now, as now the front runners have fairly cleared their way up, as Chip Schema has gained a lot of positions there. As let's see the position change, Chip Schema gaining 5 positions, so has Redstone Derp, who has gained 6 positions, as Tanishq and Redstone Derp are going side by side. And does he make that move before that hairpin? Whoa, that's some great racing between these drivers, as now there's a train in the middle, and VFix has taken the lead and is fairly comfortable with the lead at the moment. Right now he's trying to get his way up and clear his way in the clean air. Ethan meanwhile following, not having all the intervals there for me, but hopefully that should be coming back after this lap. Yes, they are. Ethan a couple of seconds behind, who is followed by Hushrav with an equal gap. Meanwhile Azun is in a half sandwich right now at the moment, as Tanishq is in the pit. So yeah, definitely there was some wing damage. He was losing time and now is lost. Finally decided to come to the pits, as this is something to watch out for as to what happens here. The track very difficult to overtake, as I am losing my intervals again and again, so not the best of experiences here. But this is the race that I think is the closest that's going on at the moment. Mercedes in a half sandwich, as now they come across the swimming pool chicane. As Ethan has probably lost a bit of ground to VFix, and Hushrav is probably closer than he was, or no, they are still on those same chip schema. As Vyom is in the pits, so definitely probably some kind of contact there while he was following Azun, as chip schema on those mediums has had a mega start, and he can really go up till lap 25 or 26, or probably even a couple of laps longer, and then come back on a set of softs, as this is the battle to look out for right now. This is the train, the two drivers that are fairly pretty close to each other, as Tanishq gets a time penalty for probably cutting turn 1, was it? I'm not sure. As Azun is just following Hushrav closely. Is there a move coming here? And Hushrav is in the pits, so that's interesting. And is that a wing change for Hushrav? Yes, it is a wing change for him, so that's the reason why he is in the pits. Meanwhile Azun, not having had the best of the starts, but it has clawed up a few positions just solely by managing his car and especially his front wing there, as Sid Venkatesh is also in the pits for probably another wing. Yes, and I am Rahul is also in the pits for another wing, as VFix is now 2.5 seconds clear of Ethan, who is a couple of seconds clear, and there is a yellow flag for a Haas. That is, I think, Hushrav and Vyom together. Did they come together? I am not sure, but does any of them have damage? Not sure. I don't think any of them has damage, but Vyom gets a time penalty. He did cut that chicane pretty hard. as Tanish and the Alpines are running in formation. So give me a better view than this. As that is probably the only battle that we as they come close to the start finish straight. DRS open for Tanishq. Is he going to look for a move down the inside? And no, he chooses to hold back for another lap, but he gets a brilliant exit through turn 1, and Shadow decides to let him go because he has realized he has gotten more pace than he does, and that's better for the team. So good team game there shown by Shadow, and the Alpine can look to make certain positions, as Quick Killer probably might have gotten a warning for that. As PSI Legends is close to chip schema on medium tires, and Redstone Derp has also had a great start. So I think he has gained 8 positions overall. So a good comeback race for him, straight into Division 1. A former Division 2 driver, but right now still doing great on that pace. And so is Yash Gosalia, who is also gained 6 positions, and so has Mayank and Chips a lot of position gain. So people not having been able to mind their wing as much as they would have liked to. Okay, as this is the battle to look out for between Chips and PSI Legends, who has caught up a lot onto Chips. So those mediums have really come to life for PSI Legends right now, as VFix has a 4-second gap to Ethan, so that's a comfortable lead that he has. As Un is also eager hot on Ethan but cannot make that move. But can PSI Legends make that move? No, he's still pretty far away. So not the best of exits for him down at the final corner. He's now almost 1.5 seconds behind him. And Mayank and Quick Killer, they would be following their way back. So battle for P8, a battle for P4, one of them, and another battle for P2 that's slowly brewing. So overtaking being very hard, these drivers really need to undercut the other driver, and they have to really look at the time that they have a look at the track map whenever they get a chance to, and see they really don't want to come up behind traffic and get stuck behind slower drivers who've probably not have boxed, as Ethan gets a high amount of understeer down at the penultimate corner, but still is a few car lengths ahead, and it's fairly a very difficult place to overtake. So as we get into lap 9, so lap 10 or 11 would be where the pit window essentially opens, but if they can, since they have a fresh set, they might just be able to prolong their tires up to lap 13 or 14, and we might just see somebody undercutting. And let's see and there's a yellow flag, as there's a Red Bull that is gone, had a moment at turn 1 probably, so that's probably clipped the wall, has it? Yep, he has clipped the wall and lost his wing entirely. Thankfully he is in the race, as Shadow Sword is getting a wing change. I think he is. Probably he did get a wing change. Yep. So lot of wing changes happening for the drivers, except the top 6, top 7 I believe, or top 8 I think, I'm not sure. The top 8 that is. Let's go back. Who can we go back to? Yeah, but talking about the pit window, so VFix might just come out at P6 right behind Redstone, and Yash has decided to pit. I think that's for a wing change because those mediums can really go pretty long. And so has Hoshraf decided to pit again. So not the best of race so far for him. I think that's another wing change. Yes, that is another wing change. And so is a change for Yash Kosalia, and Mayank definitely had to come in. So he's made his way into the pits. So VFix would come in P7, probably P somewhere in that traffic of those medium runners on fresh mediums. And so would Azun. Azun would also come in somewhere around P9. So, oh, and I saw a broken wing. Is that a broken wing for Ethan? I saw few chips of wing. No, that is for I am Rahul. I think he's back in the pits. Ethan is still continuing. Meanwhile, Azun is hot this time. He's pretty close. Can he make the move stick? Oops, sorry. And no, he can't. Still a while to go before. I think he still needs to follow them and look for an undercut and try not getting stuck in traffic, as these guys would probably come in at P9. I think just behind Vyom. That's the case. So Vyom shouldn't be much of a blocker considering he has that pace in him. But let's see when these soft runners, who are just 3 soft runners left, who have managed to keep their wing alive amongst the soft runners, while Chip Schema is just maintaining his pace and his gap to PSI Legends. Very difficult to follow the car in that dirty air and also be very close, getting that better exit down at the start finish straight. So let's see how much these drivers can manage their tires and their positions, as Racing Gupta is in the pits for a wing change. And there is a yellow flag for... was that a yellow flag for vintage player? He does have probably everything intact. Not sure. Or Sid doesn't have an end plate, does he? No, he does too. Oh, no, he doesn't. So Sid, that was a yellow flag for him. As going back up, Azun still behind Ethan. That gap is just jottling up and down as Chip Schema is getting that better grip out of those tires now and is probably closing in and also being able to maintain that gap to PSI Legend. So that's some breathing space for him, as Vyom has now caught up to Quick Killer. Let's see what if he is going for a move down here. No, not really, not the best of places for any of them to make a move, as Sid is back in the pits to get his wing changed. As now down in the start-finish straight, this time a bit closer but not close enough is Azun to make that move. Ethan makes sure he just gets that better run down at that exit, as we do have a lapped car of Sid Venkatesh that's come in between all these drivers, as now they are into lap 13. This is where ideally these drivers should be thinking about boxing, and Azun would still come in behind Vyom considering that. And let's see, and VFix also has that. VFix might just get stuck in traffic, so he might just need to prolong his run if he can, but that might just do more damage to him than good. As Vintage is also in the pits. A lot of pit stops taken by a lot of drivers. The top 4, or rather the top 5, still keeping their head. Yeah, top 7. have still not boxed. So there's a yellow flag for a Haas, and that is the Haas of Vyom, who has probably had an incident. He doesn't have a wing. I think that's a wing change surely for him. Yup, that is alrighty, so Caesar is hot on Ushraf and they're going side by side down to that section, and Caesar has given that position to Ushraf. I just missed that moment when the action was essentially unrolling, but let's see if Caesar can really come back at him. Ushraf having those faster, better set of tires with a better or a less wear on them than Caesar, who probably had an incident in lap 1 and has been running those mediums ever since, as VFix has decided to box. So let's see where he comes out, as all the other front runners are clearing him, and Ethan and Azun should also be thinking about boxing this lap, as VFix comes right just ahead of Redstone. So that's clean air for him, so he shouldn't be hindered by any traffic. So that's a pit placed fairly pretty well, so just needs to keep his head down and continue for the end of the race, and he should be able to see the checkered flag, as Chip Schema has now caught up to Azun, and that's probably a lapped Ferrari of Racing Gupta that's there. I think that is Racing Gupta. Yep, that is Racing Gupta. Meanwhile, is that helping who? And Azun is in the pits. Meanwhile, Ethan still decides to continue on those set of softs, so he thinks he still has that grip left in him. Let's see where Azun comes out. So Azun is probably coming out at P7, so a few drivers ahead of him on those medium runs, while he can catch up to them, while Ethan and Chip Schema and Racing Gupta trying to unlap himself as much as he can. He knows he's got the better pace and the better tires as compared to these drivers, as Chip Schema is now on P2 right now, following Ethan closely, who should be thinking about boxing now, because it's pretty much the end of those tires. Let's see what he does as he navigates around those, as I Am Rahul has retired from the session. There is no car coming. There's an Alpine of Shadow Sword that's going to probably cross him, and that's no safety car indeed, as Caesar gets a 5-second penalty for corner cutting. So that's probably an aggressive cut off the corner at I forgot the name of that chicane, slow left and right hander. As let's see how, as Ethan has also decided to box, and Azun has undercut him by 3 seconds. So the undercut working perfectly for Ethan and Azun. Meanwhile, and VFix has PSI Legends Quick Killer and Redstone Derp between him and Azun. So all that lead in that first half has really paid him off, as Caesar and Vyom have a heavy moment there. Their cars were just stuck and they wouldn't move, so lot of contacts and lot of incidents. Caesar caught amidst the space of the two brothers there. So hopefully no damage for either of those drivers coming out from there. But let's see what happens as Azun has caught up to Quick Killer. That fresh rubber really helping him. But it is difficult to make a move as Redstone Derp has getting a wing change, so that's, and so is Tanish, so that's an end, and Redstone Derp has come on a set of softs. And Vyom has retired from the session, and is it in the pits? Yes, looks like it is in the pits. Yes, it is in the pits, so there shouldn't be any safety car for that. And Vyom has left the session, so not the best of races for him. He chooses to finish his night rather premature on this track here. As Chip Schema and quickly as there's another yellow flag for, or did I know something? Oh, I'm just going to avoid that yellow flag as VFix has made his move through on Chip Schema, so that's probably the first overtake that we have seen. While I was struggling to see the map, there was a move that was just happening. Thankfully the stream caught it, but there is a yellow flag for a McLaren of vintage player. Did he have a moment from the pits? And they are wheel to wheel with Mayank, and oh, one of them still, yep, going there. So that's one of those places where you can really afford to go wheel to wheel, but you really need to be able to trust the other driver that you will be able to get the space that you need. While the track has fairly punched out as Yash and Hushra was side by side down through the tricky hairpin. Yash is still ahead and holding that position while Hushra is trying to catch him. They are on the same tire age. It's just where one can make a move. It's probably the closest battle that we have on track right now, as looked like Shrub took that curve a bit aggressively, but he's there down, catching on a few tenths down through Yash. As Shrub is coming very close, he would be willing to line his move up through this exit. He's a few car lengths behind. I'm not sure if that move would be able to be done. No, it isn't, and he would have to follow Yash for yet another lap. And let's see how this particular battle unfolds, as Ethan would be eager to make that move on PSI Legends, and Ethan has made a move on Quick Killer in that process, so probably down. I missed that move as Hushrav is still holding back, as Ethan would be also willing to get. Is Hushrav close enough to make a move here? No, he isn't, and Ethan makes a move. Whoa, way before that. Did PSI have a moment, or did he yield that position? I'm not very sure what happened there, but a move to see in a tricky part of the circuit. While Ethan is now clear and he has Azun to hunt, who he's lost a few seconds to him, and Chip Schema has gone 20 laps, so let's see where he would come out. So he would probably come out P6 after he boxes, and PSI Legends and Quick Killer are also yet to box, so that would effectively become P4 for him again. So fairly managing his race well. So let's see if any of them can undercut someone. PSI Legends should really look to undercut and gain some time on Chip Schema, who has about 13 seconds of lead from him. So that's probably, or a battle lost for him, because that's probably a lot of time gap between the two. as Quick Killer is now close to PSI Legends. Let's see if he can make line his move through this exit, or he gets a bit early on the throttle, doesn't have the best of exits there, as there are a lot of lapped cars that are also going around. Might just be a distraction for these drivers in terms of their braking, so not the best of sights for these drivers, and all these drivers keep fighting for their pace and position. Alright, so and Hushrav and Yash are going, and oh, Yash has a broken front wing. Oh, he was almost pushed there by Hushrav. Not sure what happened. Hushrav had the inside line. They were pretty close there, but this time the outcome isn't the greatest for those two drivers. They could manage that particular move on a few laps earlier, but this time that's a broken front wing for one of them, as Quick Killer would now try to line his move up. As there's a yellow flag for Yash, of course, he would be letting everybody by. As now Quick Killer on PSI Legends hasn't been able to make the move then, but he still has to hold back. And there's a Alpine of Shadow Sword that's running ahead. Wow. Alrighty. Chip Schema is now 22 laps on those medium tires, so he's doing a great run on those tires, but now has been hunted down by Azun, and Azun would be eager to make this move. Can he make this move stick? Let's see. DRS open for Azun. Is he close enough? No, he's not close enough. As all of this will help Ethan to catch up to Azun, and this is going to help him in the process, as Hushrav and Quick Killer. Shadow Sword has retired from the session, that's the pits, and Hushrav and Quick Killer. Did Quick Killer have a bad exit because he's lost the position to Hushrav? He probably had a moment on his car. Thankfully he has his wing intact and running. Still needs to box. Probably the lost grip on those old worn mediums is not the best of sight for him. Shadow Sword has decided to end his run. Nothing happening for him there, as Azul now pretty close on Chip Schema, and Ethan has also caught up to this pack. And let's see, can Azun make this move this time around? He's pretty close. Goes on the inside. Chip Schema yields that position to Azun, and that's a good move down into turn 1. Let's see how much does Chip Schema hold Ethan, and what kind of gap can Azun pull up here, because he really needs to be able to build that gap from Ethan, as Hushrav is in the pits again, so probably another change of wing and down on a set of softs until the end of the race. Yes, that's true. As coming back to this battle, we have Ethan, who's hot behind Chips now, whose battery is also depleted, and is he looks for a move on the inside of I'm not sure what this chicane is. I can't count, it doesn't come at the top of my head, but coming back to this race, passing swimming pool chicane but Ethan really needs to line his car through the exit of the final corner, because he can't be really held back behind Chip Schema, who is losing a couple of seconds every lap to the cars ahead. So Ethan will have to hold back this time around, and all of this will just help Azun to build that gap and breathe easy until the end of the race. And Ethan also really needs to go on mode recharge and line his move up again, because that's probably a bad, the gap that Azun might have might just not just be enough to be able to close back on. And I can see droplets of rain. Woohoo! Now things are going to get interesting, as Ethan is really interested in making that move. Both of them going down the inside. Chip Schema is very mindful of Ethan, gives him the space. Very clean, respectful racing. He knows that's not his vital because he hasn't really boxed yet. Clean, mindful driving by the two, and as much as going side by side, both of them make their car through, as Sid Venkatesh has put in an early gamble and has already come on a set of intermediate tires. So alright, that's a good bold call, and right at the back of the grid, so that'll be a bet worth taking. Let's see what kind of inroads can he pull onto Mayank, who's come on a set of mediums at this moment, so he probably had a wing change and he had no other choice but to pit. But let's see, the gap to Mayank is about, yeah, it is increasing at the moment, so that's not the best, probably a bit too tad bit early, but he can still, let's see whatever he can salvage. As the droplets of rain are coming. We have 12 laps of racing to go, and this is the part of the circuit that is going to be dry, the tunnel. And oh, was that a clip, was that a damage? I'm not very sure. Vintage player, did he have some kind of damage? As there's a battle between Caesar, who doesn't have a front wing, so he is struggling on those tires. He would probably, yes, managing his car somehow, and he has to really obliterate that corner because of that lack of downforce in his car. And I think he clips the wall yet again and yet again, and I can see not the puddles, but at least prominent droplets. So this is just a blessing in disguise probably for Caesar. He can come onto a set of intermediates with a fresh wing and see what he can do in the wet stage, as the track is certainly wet enough. I think now would be a good choice to get onto Inters. Caesar, yes, he has. So has PSI Legends. So has Hushraf. And so has Redstone. And so has Yash, who's already gone on those Inters. So, but he's probably letting the McLaren of, was that, no, that was McLaren of Vintage. Was it? Yes, he was. He let him by for some reason. Okay, interesting. Probably. Alright, let's see what the leaders do. VFix has a 14-second gap behind, and all of this is going to get interesting. Does he decide to box this lap? I think the crane is getting intense. It is intense enough, especially at that tunnel. It is getting intense, and oh, Azun has a moment and manages to keep his car running. Ethan is also taking his car carefully down there, and Sid Venkatesh making a lot of inroads on Mayank, as there is a yellow flag somewhere. Was there? No. Hushraf and Racing Gupta, oh, the tires are now talking, and Racing Gupta will just have to continuously yield just those positions, as it is VFix has decided to continue. Azun has also decided to continue, and so has Ethan. So they still think this is the better tire, though I'm not sure about their choice, as Chip Schema is also still continuing, and he would go straight on to those inters. So is Quick Killer, probably in the same party chat as well, I might suspect. But these drivers would just go on a set of inters, as Quick Killer really missed that chicane, and those medium tires don't have the grip to take these really these slow speed corners. But things are very interesting right now. The intermediate runners are definitely gaining that time on the soft runners, as Quick Killer and Tanishq both have decided to come in for that change, and now that wet race puts away the race mandate as well, as VFix also chooses to come to the pits, and so would Azun and Ethan. So whatever time gain they could have had by trying to go in for a lap earlier has gone away, as all of them are following each other into the pits, and we should definitely see Chip Schema also getting back into the pits, as now we have a full a wet race to see for the last 8 laps. So drivers need to get their heads in super focus mode, as it can get very treacherous now, as VFix could see his car locking up on. You can hear the lockup probably as he goes downhill, and there is a ghosted car of Mayank, is it? Yes, of Mayank, that won't be making things easy absolutely for him. But now this is the dry part of the track for those inter tires, and Mayank still wants to unlap himself and try to get that, as there is a corner cut by the car behind. I think that's an Alfa Romeo of Redstone Derp, was it? Yes, I think that is Redstone Derp. Alright, any races now. Let's see what kind of. So Chip Schema is at P4, Quick Killer at P5, PSI Legends at P6, and there is a yellow flag for someone, and that's an Alpine or that's the Aston Martin of Sid, who doesn't have a front wing anymore. So he needs to crawl his way back up to the pits, as VFix poised to have his car under control up until the checkered flag. Let's see what the dry part looks like for these drivers. Oh, braking very late there, PSI. This is probably a 3-car race, and overtaking in the wets is just going to be super tricky and super difficult. So I think these drivers just need to keep their head in control, as there's a yellow flag, as Tanishq has retired from the session. Whoa. Oh, not the best of places to retire. What car do we have following it? That car is away, so I don't think there will be any safety cars. Probably the nature of the track as such, and the game doesn't seem to give a lot of safety cars despite retirement and cars crossing at Monaco. But let's see, as Vintage player gets another time penalty in this process. Getting back to the train, all the drivers still holding their position. Definitely, there's not a lot of moves in the making here, as PSI Legends has lost his car and his wing there. Oh, not the best of the exits. Probably got in a little early on the throttle, as there's another yellow flag for someone, the Red Bull or the Alfa Romeo. As Hushrav also gets a free position now, he would be trying to close and make a move on Quick Killer, who just has a drifty moment down through that hairpin, downhill hairpin, as Hushrav has caught up all that place, and Quick Killer just yields that position to Hushrav. Does he have damage? No, he doesn't. Oh, oh, okay. Has a lot of penalties, is it? So just going there, going ahead. So Hushrav, the next target for him is Chip Schema, who is probably a bit too much out of reach, as there's a yellow flag again. Okay. Alright, the track has fairly spaced out. I don't see a lot of battles anywhere. PSI Legends, of course, is in the pits now. So 4 DNFs out of 18, so that's not a bad. A few of the drivers giving up a little early. Tanish, the only one to having had his car crashed, as there are blue flags for Chip Schema and PSI Legends, who were at a time battling each other, with PSI Legends car not being ghosted like the way it is right now. So that's all the difference that it makes. So I think it's the front four who have kept their car, and especially their wing, more importantly, running right throughout the course of this race so far. So that's a great show of racing, and from all these drivers, the top four especially, because just having to make that one mandatory pit stop and running your wing all throughout is certainly a credible thing in here around Monaco. As just let's have a look at the number of pit stops people have taken. Hushrav has taken 4 pit stops and still is in P5, 45 seconds behind the front 4, but still that he'll take whatever comes his way. As Sid has taken 7 pit stops, Mayank with 6, Racing Gupta with 5, 4 pit stops for Vintage as well, as Caesar has taken 3 pit stops. As there was a moment, was there? No. A lot of pit stops by these drivers, but still I think 2 were where everybody really had to make that, but Chips and Quick Killer making just that single pit stop from a soft to wet compound. And yeah, okay, those are just coasted cars, not a lot of bother for any, probably just a bit, maybe not more. Maybe we cannot, let's just leave away. And okay, there is nothing really very interesting that's going on. The track is fairly split out, and the drivers would also be just 2 more laps to go, and I think that's pretty much they are going to see the checkered flag the way they stand. But let's have a look at the penalty situation just until then. quick killer with 9 seconds of penalties. That shouldn't bother him much, as the next car behind him is 27 seconds behind, who has a further 11 seconds of penalties. 19 seconds for Redstone Derp. But is this... Okay, I think 19 seconds for Redstone Derp, 12 seconds for Caesar, Vintage, Racing Gupta, Mayank getting 9 seconds of penalties each. So guessing probably Redstone might just lose a position. Nothing beyond that, probably all the drivers, and Yash would also not really lose a position per se, so not a lot of... We expect to not see a lot of position swapping despite the penalties, barring a couple maybe at max. But let's see how this unfolds as VFix is in the penultimate lap. Just a few more sectors to negotiate for these drivers, and Ethan has been following Azun fairly closely. I think that has been a catch up done by him, but that is how things will stand, and I think this is where these drivers also started their race. Yes, that's true. So the top three staying as is, which was also the case for our Division 2 race yesterday. So just a replica of that again, as Chip Schema has gained 7 positions with that strategic pole position, starting on those mediums and just coming for once on those wet tires. Bushra, despite the 4 pit stops, has been able to get back his P5. So that's just the mere goal of completing the race would also yield a lot of results. As then Quick Killer, Yash Gosalia have gained a lot of positions. So has Redstone Derp, who did start at the back, not really at the back, but pretty much at the back, and on the controller, and not in his wheel, which he's typically accustomed to, but still putting on a good show of racing on the pad. And so have all these drivers, as VF Kushner is out from the session. I don't know when that happened. Whoa. Okay, I have no clue when that happens, and I missed the reading as well. Hopefully, no. Let's see, as VFX now winds up the swimming pool section and now comes across the final set of corners for one last time, having lapped a lot of cars behind him. Yep, having lapped everybody but the top 4. So this is, and takes the checkered flag at Monaco. Azun now negotiating and just having fought his way through, clawed up that a good pit strategy, that good undercut, and gets that position back on Ethan, despite not having the best of race starts, as Ethan comes home P3. Chip Schema will take home P4, and Redstone has retired from the session somehow. Oh my god. In the last lap, Redstone has given us a retirement. So from good points position, he's probably... Oh, he will. I think he will score points. Still score points, I believe. Having completed more laps than Sid and Mayank. That be the case. But here we are. The final 2 drivers coming and rounding up the checkered flag. So a pretty interesting race that we had. Pretty much a very similar show of what happened in the Division 1 race, barring the incidents and the contacts. With Division 2 was pretty clean that way, but a lot of pit stops we saw in Division 1, and the top 5 drivers again being the only cars having not been lapped by the leader. But a great show by all these drivers putting their head down. VFix taking the checkered flags was fairly thorough right from lights out. Azun in P2, Ethan in P3, so rounding up the podium places. Chip schema with only one pit stop, just that change 28 laps, 28 30 laps on those mediums, so great race from him. Hushrav salvaging his P5 despite all the drama that he encountered in the race. PSI Legends take P6, Caesar with P7, Quick Killer P8, Vintage Racing Gupta, Yash Kosalia, Redstone rounding up the points position. So hopefully he should be able to get those points. And Sid Venkatesh and Mayank, the last of the finishers, with Tanishq, Shadow, Vyom, and Rahul are retirements for the race. So very interesting race. And let me invite these folks for the party and the interviews. Alright, hopefully we should see everybody joining us very soon. VFix, can you add Azun? I did, but I'm not sure. Ah, okay.
Out for that.
Yeah, man, even I'm pretty late for that. So, but we'll also quickly at least get this through. Has Ethan joined us?
I think Ethan might have another league race. I will try adding him, but yeah.
I added him. I'm not sure if he's going to join. But let's see. We'll anyway. You have joined us, VFix. So great race from you. Congratulations on that podium. So I think right from lap one to lap 39, that was a fairly well dominated race. No foot wrong. So take us through your
Yeah.
race. How did it go? And
First of all, number one, throat's not well, so I'm gonna keep this a bit short. But yeah, number two, sorry to everyone for those lobby restarts. I know they're annoying, but in all fairness, it's Caesar's fault. Really, I did ask him to check multiple times, and he told me yes multiple times. So yeah, that's pretty much that about that. But yeah, I knew I needed to push because I had a 10-second penalty going into this, so I had to win by more than 10 seconds. So for me, and sometimes in a track like Monaco, when you have nothing to lose, you just start driving like on the limit, and then it just becomes like the first 14, 15 laps. I wasn't even thinking about the fact that I was first. I was just thinking about I need to get this up to 10 seconds, and hopefully no safety cars come out. That was literally my mantra for this. And yeah, luckily no safety cars did come out, and yeah, I knew I had the pace to win normally, but of course you never know whether you're going to make a 10-second gap, so that was very tricky. But yeah, finally back at P1. Should have been P1 a lot more this season, but safety cars and other things, misfortune. But yeah, that is pretty much all I have to say really. I mean, it was a pretty
yep.
it looked pretty boring, I think, for you guys, but it was not. I was just trying to every lap it was like Leclerc in 2021 because did not. I would have rather taken a DNF than finishing P2 by like 9 seconds, if or by only making a gap of 9 seconds. So yeah, it's
Oh,
fun, very
yep.
fun.
A different thought process there. But anyway, great win there and great drive from you. And thanks everybody for joining us. Do tune in again next week for some more racing with the Indian Racing League. And that's all for this weekend. I hope you have a happy Saturday and
Yeah.
happy Sunday with the Champions
Yeah,
League final.
yeah. You guys who
Yeah, yep. Hopefully you take care. Yeah, we'll start with the wellness wishes for your health. So hopefully, and we'll later step into the money business. But yeah, that's for starters. All right. So here we are signing off again. Have a happy weekend.